Last time we ended when Joseph and Mary were in Bethlehem, and then Mary felt like what is inside of her wants to come out. She felt the baby boy wants to come out. So she told Joseph, and then Joseph sent his sons to go and look for the midwife. And then since Bethlehem was filled with people, and though it was a new town to them, it was not their home place, so they didn't know where to find a midwife. So in the process, they delayed it. They took a long time. So Joseph also followed them to go and search also for the midwife, said that the first one to find brings the midwife. So as they had reached in the evening, before Abraham actually sent his sons, they had reached in the evening, and then they were looking for a place where to stay, and then they could not find because all rooms were filled with people. So now that's when they found one person who told them to go in a cave. This cave is where animals used to stay, like cattle and sheep and goats. Is where they used to stay. Is where they used to sleep. So they went there. So while they were there is when Mary told Joseph that the baby wants to come out. So now towards morning is when Joseph decided to follow his sons to go and look for the midwife as well. So Moses left in the morning, towards morning, like around 5. Yeah, towards morning. And then by 6, he was already in town. The cave was outside, like a little bit outside. It was not in town. So by 6, he was already in town, towards 7 there. And then he was running to go and get a midwife to come and help Mary give birth. So while he was on the way, Mary gave birth. But while Joseph was still on the way looking for the midwife, was just getting into town to start looking for midwife. So when Mary was giving birth, Jesus tells Joel, the whole world paused. As Mary was giving birth to Jesus Christ, the whole world paused. Everything paused. As Joseph was running, he paused. So whichever leg was in air, it remained in air for a few moments. Could have been a minute. I'm not sure. He didn't disclose. Could have been 2 minutes. No one knows. Even the birds in the air that were flying, they paused. Everything in the whole world was on pause, because the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God, the Creator of heaven and earth, was coming to the world in flesh. So everything had to pause and welcome him. So Jesus was born. I don't know for how long the world was on pause, but the whole world went to pause. They didn't disclose on how long. So as Joseph was running, so when the world paused, he felt the world had paused, but he did not it was not in his consciousness that the pause, like for this particular period of time, it was just like you can feel like something has held you and then has released you. He didn't feel it like you would be on pause like for long. No, he just felt like something has held him and released him. So he was like, what has happened to me? Yet he had paused for some good time. Could have been a minute, could have been 2 minutes. They didn't disclose, but the world went on pause. So after that pause, he meets now a woman who dreamt meeting a man that looks like Joseph in a particular place. So after the dream, the woman comes to that place. I dreamt meeting a man here. She had dreamt it 3 times, Yeah, she had dreamt it like 3 times, even more than 3 times. But in most cases, God deals with numbers of three. So I suppose there were 3 times, because he didn't. Joel didn't disclose how many times, but I suppose there were three. So the woman comes and waits. I dreamt meeting a man here several times. So as the woman waits, then he sees Joseph come running. And then he's like, "You man, I dreamt meeting you." And then Joseph like, "I'm looking for a midwife." And then this woman's like, "I'm the midwife in this place. I'm the only one. You won't find any." And then Joseph is like, "Oh, my wife is giving birth to a child." And then the woman is like, "What? I'm the only midwife and you're looking for a midwife?" And then God must have planned this. So Joseph takes Anna Joseph takes the midwife to the cave. And then as they reach the cave at first was like blocked. They could not see the opening. They searched for it and they could not see it. But I think Joel tells us that God had not yet wanted them to enter. So later they see the way, and then they enter. And then on their way entering, they found out Mary had already given birth. So uh, then this midwife is like, "Oh, you've given birth and you've given birth very well. You didn't have any challenges." So then the midwife is like, "I will need to register this boy. I know the man who registers newborn children." So the midwife goes to collect. This man was called Cornelius. Goes to collect Cornelius to come and register this boy. Now, angels told the herdsmen that the Savior of the world has been given birth to. And then these herdsmen come, and then they worship Jesus Christ. Even the cattle were worshiping Jesus Christ, bowing their front legs, and all the animals that were there were bowing down and giving the baby warmth. So now when the midwife came with Cornelius, these herdsmen ran, because for them they were not registered, and it was a law. Everyone had to be registered. But now, as you know, poor people are always isolated. So for them, they are not being registered, and they were always being chased. So I won't go too much into that. So Cornelius and the midwife come to enter the cave. And then by the power of God, this Cornelius gets ill while entering, because God had not was not yet willing for Cornelius to enter. But then Cornelius tells the midwife to call any person who is in the cave. And then Joseph comes, and then Cornelius tells him, "Just allow me to enter, because I feel like there's power inside there which is not allowing me to enter." So Joseph accepts, and then the man enters. So on entering, Cornelius becomes rough. How can you give birth in such a condition, in such an environment, from an environment of animals? And then he was rough. He became rough to Joseph, and he wanted to arrest them. So Angel Michael comes in, and then Angel Michael comes in a glorious shape, very tall. And then when Cornelius saw Angel Michael, he just fell down and collapsed. So they tried and tried and tried to bring him up. Then they failed. Joseph and Mary and this midwife failed to bring him up. So Mary is like, "But this boy I've given birth to has powers. Just hold the hand of this boy and tap the hand of this boy to the hand of this man." And then immediately they tapped the two hands of the boy and the man. The man got up. But this time round, he gets up a new man. Not the other man who was rough, was rude, who was, Cornelius was an army man. Was an army man of Herod. Yeah, he was an army man of Herod, and Herod used to be. Can I say sorcerer? Can I say he used to worship gods? He used to worship gods, and the worship of gods involves witchcraft, involves sorcery. And then Cornelius was a servant of Herod. I think that is why God had not allowed Cornelius to enter, because he knew he was involved into worshiping of different gods, and yet who are contrary to the God that has been brought into this world. So that is why there had to be an alteration to Cornelius, to change him from the old man he has been to a new man. So I think that is why God had held him from not entering, such that such situations would come that would cause an alteration in Cornelius. So when Cornelius got up and was a new man, so he vowed to take responsibility of taking care of Joseph, Mary, and the newborn child. So he built for them a house. He built for them houses, one for the Mary and the child, and then the other one for Joseph and his sons. So he built for them the houses, and he started protecting them. So now there were wise men who were following a star which came and stopped in Bethlehem. So the wise men were looking. Now they knew the child is born in Bethlehem because the star stopped in Bethlehem. So they started seeking for where the child has been born within Bethlehem. So they were taken to King Herod. Herod told them, "Oh, boys, a king is born in Bethlehem. Okay, you can search for him. When you find him, come and tell me." So as they were searching, they came to Cornelius, and then Cornelius, he didn't reveal to them first. So he first didn't disclose to them. So they continued searching, but under the guidance or the protection of Cornelius, because Cornelius was the one in control of Bethlehem. He was the one ruling over Bethlehem. So King Herod had sent the wise men under the custody of Cornelius. So Cornelius stayed with them for a few days as he was studying their manners and their character, such to know if they are worthy of being trusted to be given this heavy information, because he knew Herod wanted to kill this child, because Herod didn't want another king who would take up his position. So with time, Cornelius realized these men can be trusted, so he told them and showed them where the newborn child was, and then they went and worshipped him and gave him gifts. And then afterwards, the wise men went away and took a different route, different from where they had come from. Not even their servants knew that they had seen the child they had come to see. So they didn't disclose to anyone. They kept it a secret even to their own servants. So they went back. So later, Herod gets to know the wise men left. So he gives out an order to kill all newborn children from 2 years and below. 2 years and below. So they started killing children. They started killing male children 2 years and below, while the child they were looking for was under the protection of Cornelius, one of the servants of King Herod. But King Herod didn't know about it. So he was in a place where they would least expect him to be. He was in one of the places where they would least expect him to be. So they killed all children around, but they couldn't go into Cornelius's custody. So Jesus was under the protection of the Almighty God. Hope next time we shall start from there. God bless. Last time we ended when Joseph and Mary were in Bethlehem, and then Mary felt like what is inside of her wants to come out. She felt the baby boy wants to come out. So